So you may have bought an Xbox Series X or Xbox Series S and be thinking what you should play on it, but don't think for too long, as this list has you covered with what is perhaps the best deal in gaming, and that's Xbox Game Pass. There is something here for everyone, and there is so many great games here that you may not need to buy anything at full price for quite a while. But if you like the video, then please comment, like, subscribe, and give it a share on Twitter or Reddit, as it's appreciated. But let's get to the list and all of this gaming goodness. So, starting off at number 20, and it's RYSE Son of Rome, a launch game for the Xbox One. This game still looks damn good even to this day, and whilst it's mainly known for its stellar visuals, it was also criticised for its repetitive gameplay and not super long campaign. But don't let that stop you, as there is enough fun and brutality here, plus a great setting and story to go with it. Worth checking out, just for how damn good the graphics still hold up. Next at number 19, we have a surprisingly good RPG in Greedfall. This didn't get much praise or attention when it originally came out, but this delivers a surprisingly enjoyable RPG just without the budget of a AAA game. It doesn't really do anything which I'd consider best in its class, but it all comes together to provide you another RPG if that's what you're after. Visuals are very nice and the combat is also good, but if you're an RPG fan, then it's definitely worth checking out, but just keep your expectations in check. But I was quite surprised with how much I liked it. At number 18, we have the great Alien Isolation, and this was one of the first games I played on the Xbox One. This sticks really close to the first movie, and it's all the better for it. It still looks great and is dripping intense atmosphere where the xenomorph is trying to stalk and hunt you down. Really, the only issues here is the campaign, which slightly overstays its welcome due to backtracking, but don't let that stop you. It's a creepy and tense ride. Next at number 17, we have a change of pace with What Remains of Edith Finch. This is just a beautiful game both visually and in its storytelling and themes. Quite somber in parts, as it follows the lives of these characters and this family. This won't be for everyone, but if it strikes a chord with you, then you'll remember it for a long time. This is also a perfect game to play between more action-packed games or shooters if that's what you usually play. There is a reason why so many people like this game, and there's no perfect time if you're on the fence about it, as it's on Game Pass obviously. Taking up the number 16 spot, we have Quantum Break, and if you're after some great time manipulation combat, then this is for you. With a trippy storyline, blending standard game cutscenes and gameplay mixed with a live-action TV show, this combines good gunplay whilst you're trying to piece together everything that's going on. It still looks great and is still worth replaying should you have an itch for it. At number 15, we go back to the Xbox One launch again, and it's the criminally underrated Sunset Overdrive. With its over-the-top guns and enemy design, through to its gorgeous and colourful open world, this is one game that still doesn't get enough attention. It performs well and has a quirky and charming sense of humour to go along with it. Insomniac did an awesome job with this game, and if you're after an open world action game like no other, then this is for you. I had no interest in playing this game until I actually did and saw just how much fun there is to be had here. Coming in at number 14, we have No Man's Sky, a game which has transformed itself completely since its launch, and there is a ton of things to do. If playing on Series X, you'll get the benefit of much better performance and more detailed environments. You can easily lose yourself in this hugely vast game, and it's definitely worth checking out. Between the updated graphics, base building, and playing this with friends, this is one game that has certainly redeemed itself and become something quite unique. Next at number 13 is the loved or hated Fallout 76, and this is another game which has improved with time and is much better once NPCs were added back in, giving it more of that classic Fallout feel. Well, as classic as it can be from when Bethesda took it over. If you're looking for a game that can take up hundreds of hours and you like RPGs, then maybe give this a look. It's also worth checking out if you played around at launch and either didn't like it or suffered through the technical problems, but maybe it's time to revisit it. At number 12, we have The Outer Worlds from Obsidian. This vibrant and colourful RPG is excellent and proves the studio know how to make quality games. It did have a few issues that held it back from greatness, but this is excellent work from a smaller team at the time. It has decent gunplay and a good selection of weapons, but it's the story and characters which are well written that are the main reasons to play, and makes me look forward to what Obsidian releases in the future now that they are owned by Microsoft. Next, at number 11, we go back to the Xbox 360 days with Alan Wake. This has a number of fans waiting for a sequel to be announced, but until that time, Alan Wake gives players an excellent and intriguing story which you won't want to put down until the end. It still looks good with a fantastic setting, plus it will likely give you a few scares along the way. If you're after a single player action adventure, plus want a gripping story, then this is it. At number 10, we have another fantastic story-driven game, and it's A Plague Tale: Innocence. This game almost seemed to come out of nowhere, but its story and characters are crafted very well, plus it has a setting that is just perfect for it. With some simple but clever puzzles thrown into the mix, this was one of the best games I played in 2019 and deserves even more recognition. It looks gorgeous and you'll want to keep going all the way to the end. Excellent game. Rocking up at number 9, we have the mind-bending confusion fest of Control. From the moment the game starts, the weirdness pretty much kicks in, and I would expect no less from Remedy Games. But this game also packs a punch when it comes to its gameplay and combat, where players can hurl objects through the air with telekinesis or levitate as they empty clips into the enemies. But what's most impressive about this game is the amount of destruction players can inflict on the environment, with concrete shattering or desks and paper being thrown everywhere. It had performance issues even on the One X and PS4 Pro, but the Series X smooths it out. Or you can play the Ultimate Edition with the next gen patch as well. For anyone who enjoys racing games, then at number 8 we have Forza Horizon 4, and in all honesty, the quality of this franchise is fantastic. It has loads of content to get through, including a wealth of races to partake in, plus the several other activities that are located all over the map, such as barn finds, all of this as you continually build up your car collection. With the incredible graphics and performance, dynamic weather system, and the first in the series to introduce seasons which change over time, Playground Games nails the feeling and handling of each of these cars and show how they keep improving with each game. A stunning entrant in my favourite arcade racing series. At number 7, we have Bungie's Destiny 2, which is at a bit of a crossroads for myself, and you can check out my reviews with my extended thoughts on the game currently. But for any newcomers especially, it's free on Game Pass and has a large amount of content, even if a lot has been stripped out recently. The gunplay and movement is perhaps the best in any first-person shooter on the market, plus it now runs at 4K 60 in PvE for those with a Series X or 1080p 60 for those with a Series S. The PvP gets a 120 frames a second mode if you have a TV that supports it, but even if you don't want to grind endlessly for minute increases in power, it doesn't really matter, as this game and all expansions on Game Pass is such great value, and I recommend checking it out. At number 6, we have non-stop action in Doom Eternal. This is one of the best looking games out there, and it's even more impressive with just how well it runs. With its lengthy campaign and over-the-top demon-slaying gorefest, it's incredible how well id Software has brought this classic series into the modern day, whilst retaining the core of its gameplay. With varied environments and those classic Doom weapons at your disposal, I never lost interest in killing these just expertly designed enemies. The speed of the gameplay needing to chainsaw enemies to replenish health, it gives this great blend of ranged and up-close combat, which creates this almost addictive gameplay loop. When you're in the mood for a fast-paced shooter, then look no further than Doom Eternal. Next, at number 5, we have the RPG that never seems to go away, and that's Skyrim. But this appears here because this is no longer the regular Skyrim from 2011. No, this is the remastered version, and with that comes the ability to install mods. Not quite at the level as you can over on the PC, but these improve the game. Plus now with the Series X, you can install a mod that makes the game run at 60 frames a second. It isn't totally locked with no issues at all, but it enhances what is already an excellent experience, and with what I believe is one of the best RPGs out there. It's often a joke as to just how many ports there are of this game, but it's still damn great all these years later, and the mod support pumps more life into Bethesda's huge open world RPG. Definitely worth revisiting, and one of the best RPGs out there still. Coming in at number 4, we have the Gears of War series. I've included them all as they're all worth playing, with probably Judgment and Gears 4 being the weakest. I prefer the original trilogy to the latest ones, but geez, Gears 5 especially looks drop dead gorgeous on the Series X, and it's still highly impressive on the Xbox One and One X as well. With some of the best cover shooting around, there is a lot to get through with this series. Just be aware that the Ultimate Edition is a remaster of the first game, so when you play the sequels of 2 and 3, you'll notice a graphical difference, but they're still excellent. If you have an Xbox, you need to check out Gears of War. Scoring the number 3 spot is a no-brainer, and it's the Halo series. These will take you a while to complete, even if it's just for the campaigns and not the excellent multiplayer. With the Master Chief Collection, it gives the older games a facelift in terms of visuals and performance, and they look and perform much better, but these are must-plays for anyone with an Xbox, as it's what I consider to be synonymous with the consoles themselves. Everyone seems to have a different favourite from the series, but they are all worth experiencing to make up your own mind as to which you like most. It's a phenomenal collection of games. At number 2, we have The Witcher 3 for anybody who hasn't sunk their teeth into this excellent RPG, which others get compared to quite often. It has better performance on the Series X now, even without a dedicated next-gen patch, and it's still a great looking game with a combat system which is good in my view, but takes some getting used to, and people's opinions of it seem to differ a lot. But the real stars here are the excellent world which was built, and the missions and side quests which are included. Expertly written, they often show how many other games fall short when it comes to their side content, but The Witcher 3 deserves to be experienced if you never have before. And at number 1, we have the amazing Mass Effect 1, and even though the sequel is often seen as the pinnacle of the series, the first still tells an awesome story, introduces an incredible world and universe, and shows us the characters who we will become so close to over the next 2 games. It shows its age in terms of performance, but there is a reason the series is loved so much, and it starts here. With the trilogy getting the remastered treatment, it's still worth playing the originals. When it comes to story, characters, and being invested in a game, not just playing it, really digging deep into it, then Mass Effect is an exceptional game and easily one of my favourite games and favourite series of all time. So this is just a taste of what Game Pass has to offer, and if you haven't played a lot of these games before, then your backlog just became huge. These are all exceptional in different ways and deserve to be at least looked at when deciding what you should play next. A huge amount of choice and quality for a minimal outlay. So if you liked the video, then please like, comment, subscribe or share it around the place on the likes of Twitter and Reddit, and I'll see you on the next video.